till I die, Spurs diehards. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Spurs diehards. Tottenham till I die.
Hello and welcome to the regular Tuesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham Till I Die. Tonight I've got two great guests, one returning guest in Charlie who's in Holland and Phil who's making a debut from Frankfurt. Good evening guys, I'll start with you Charlie, how are you?
Doing well. Graduate school, just working right now and just enjoying life really.
Good, it's good to hear. And Phil, how's things in Frankfurt? What's the weather like?
It's actually been really nice, really nice this week. Nice and sunny, quite like a September day actually, quite mild. So let's see what happens for Christmas next week. It'll probably start raining again. Rain for Christmas as always. People are still hoping on a white one, but let's see what happens.
Right, we're going to start with different ways we could think this team can play, because I don't personally believe this squad of players is as bad as some fans would have it. I definitely don't. I just think a few tweaks here and there and we could change it. And that's without bringing, injured players back like Decky, Maddison and Solanke and even getting upgrades in the transfer window, which I'm sure we are going to get at least two. I'm sure we're going to. So, yeah, so we'll get into it. I'm going to put this up for these guys. I want us to go through. Now, with this, what is your favourite system of play and what's your favourite squad of players? You may have a favourite system of play, but it might not be what we're playing. I mean, like, give us if your favourite system and system of play are the same, give us it. But what's in general your favourite system of play, Phil?
Generally, I do like the classic kind of 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 or 4-1, whatever it could be, right? Again, some kind of diamond. But generally speaking, if I could choose, I do like a 4-3-3. With the kind of the number 10 or that more attacking midfielder just obviously sitting in front of them. But whether they're a classical out and out 10 or a bit more of an 8 with a 10, can be up. It doesn't really matter. But that's the kind of system I would generally favour. I think when Thomas Frank came, I was hoping that he might play 3-5-2, a back three or a back five, however you want to call it, but ideally a back three, if that makes sense, with kind of wing backs on occasion, maybe not every game, but certainly obviously to counter some kind of teams. And I mean, we saw it against Paris, didn't we, in the Super Cup? And I don't know if we played it against City. Maybe we played a 4 at the back against City, but I think probably at that point I was thinking, Frank's going to pull that one out of the bag, for more games against better opposition. But we haven't really seen 3-5-2 or 5-3-2 that often. And I think that can work if you've got a Udogie fit and a Porro or a Spence fit on the right, who's attacking. I think at the moment, for me, Spence is not a left back, in any shape or form. I don't think he's a left wing back. I don't think he's a left back. He can do a job there probably, as he's shown, especially against inferior opposition, like he did in the Champions League last week and against Brentford as well. He was able to get forward because no one was pressing him. But he's not a solution there, so we're short there. To keep it short, my favoured system with the squad of players that we have, who I also believe are not as bad as a lot of kind of the online world on X and, you know, some press and stuff are saying. You know, we don't have a squad that's like, you know, is kind of like 12th in the league, right?
No.
Like in terms of quality, we've got some top quality players in there. We've got internationals all across the team. You know, I would stick with like a fourth. To be honest, I would stick with a 4-3-3 because I think that's also how Frank actually likes to play in an ideal world. And we need to get the team playing in a certain way, right? So we get some continuity. And I would play Javi in that midfield three, but obviously kind of in front of the other two. But I would hope that the other two midfielders, that they just get to know each other better, because there's a distinct lack of, you know, cohesion in the midfield at the moment, which is one of our biggest problems. I think the midfield just doesn't work, if I'm being honest. What I would do, and I'll be very interested to hear other people's views on this, but I would actually give Mickey van der Ven a run out at left back, you know, for the upcoming games, because he's been playing there consistently for the Netherlands, right? So he knows how to play left back. And right now, you know, he would give us some great balance on the left, which I think we're missing. He'd give us some great verve and attacking on the left, but he'd also be able to get back and, you know, plug any gaps, you know, if there's stuff there. And I think with Danzo, to be honest, I think right now I'd be happy for Danzo to partner Romero at the back. So that's just my feeling on it. And I would drop Porro as well, and I'd actually have Spence given a run at right back properly, because I think Porro's been shocking, if I'm being honest. I think he's been really, really bad this season, and yeah. I don't know. Like, again, like, it's not about dropping players. Sometimes, not about like saying, "Oh, you're dropped," but like sometimes players maybe, you know, deserve to go on the bench for a bit, and you know, either get a bit of a rest or just kind of have a little bit from the outside, like looking in, and maybe that would be good for someone like Porro. But you know, I understand as well. Porro's got a lot of fans, and Spence has also been a bit, you know, funny with his attitude as well recently. So I don't know, but yeah, that's how I would how I would see the favoured system, and probably also the favoured system just to try and get some continuity finally, and also get something a bit more out of these players, right? Over the next 6 weeks, or let's say through January, to be honest.
Charlie, come to you. What's your favourite system? And do you think? Go on. What's your favourite system?
I always love playing full out, cutting inside wingers, like a lot of just dribble, flair, basically just watching football, just watching fun football, watching something that's basically just jumping out of the screen. Great individual players, so basically two DMs, like a Paulinho, Bentancur, then have a Simmons in the middle, maybe paired with, well, not really paired. Then on the right we'll have Johnson, striker Solanke, left what's his name, Odebert, and then just basically let them dribble, let them do their thing, give them more freedom.
No kudos.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about kudos. Goodness me, go.
That's why I came in there, mate. Help you out.
Kudos on the right. Just literally just attacking, flair, and just doing risky things, because what we're watching now is just very. We're watching content but football, and I just want to watch some. We may lose a bit more, or we may do some stupid things, but it's just going to be more fun to watch, and that's what I want Tottenham to be. I want it to be fun to watch. So that's basically what I change right now.
Phil, I mean, I am a fan of 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. It's the same thing to me, basically.
Yeah.
But we've got an issue with the 4-3-3. We've got an issue on left wing, and we've got an issue with legs in midfield. So, you know, I mean, you still favour a 4-3-3 with the squad we've got. I mean, I like Odebert. I like the character and attitude, but they're still developing players, aren't they? They're not there yet. They're not cooked. So if they were, you know, and we had sufficient backup, then I thought, yeah, that's my reason for not. I mean, although I favour a 4-3-3, it's not working, and the midfield's not working. You know, with the squad we've got to improve us, this is what I would do. I would play a midfield diamond. And the reason I would do that is because then you can play one of Bentancur or Paulina at the base of the diamond. You could play Sarr, Gray, and Bergvall in midfield. They would give us the legs in midfield, which we've been lacking. And then you play Xavi in front of them. And then you've got, to me, Moani's our best striker, and Kudus up front. Also, to get the best out of the squad, if you're going with that two up front and you're playing Moani, you could even play Johnson in there and make better use of him. And you might get more out of Johnson playing him as in the inside striker. I mean, what do you think on that, Phil?
I would be happy with that as well. I mean, I do think the diamond can be very successful if it's utilised properly. I would say, and again, with Kudus maybe playing a bit more up front than kind of stuck out on the right, having two players on him the whole time might get him into the game a bit more as well, and get him, him and Moani up front would be quite an interesting combo, wouldn't it? With Xavi just kind of like behind them. So that three, but kind of, like depending on how they get themselves organised, could be super interesting. The one thing I would say is if you're playing that diamond, then again, I would personally, I would want to have a left back, and a right back that would still, be able to get forward enough and offer balance, so that we've got a bit of width, going out there. And then if you've got the diamond, then there's more passing options there. So I would say that that kind of, how do you say, how you get the right back and the left back kind of attacking and moving in that shape, I think is important. But yeah, you're not wrong with that, like with the diamond, because maybe the left winger is the biggest problem at the moment, in terms of we don't have an out and out quality option there who is either consistent or even like makes opposition scared. Let's say, right? Like, because you're right. Odobert and Tell, they're not enough at the moment, are they? They're not doing enough at the moment. They're not doing enough when they get a chance.
They'll be too good for the championship, because I've seen them at under 21 level now. They're superb at that level, and I don't mean like weak under 21s. They're both. Charlie, with a diamond, a midfield diamond, we're not relying on Johnson to track back, are we? We're not relying on someone on the left to track back. You've got your left-sided midfielder, which would be Bergvall, because Thomas Frank put him there before he got concussion the first 10 minutes of that game. So I knew he's always going to find a spot on the left or be given a free role if Simmons isn't playing. And on the right, you'd have Gray probably, and with Sarr in the middle, and they could also cover the fullbacks as well. I just think the diamond is the way to go, but do I see it happening? Well, I haven't got a clue what Frank's up to be honest with you, Charlie.
I think it's the right way to play. I don't think Frank's the right manager to basically play it. You know what I mean? He's more of a defensive manager, more of a conservative manager. So yeah, I think we do need someone else to be playing, but that would be the perfect way just to get. I think we could be contending for top 4 if we were playing a diamond in the diamond. Just because we've got the quality, we've got Simmons, we've got Bergvall, Gray's coming up, we've got Kudus, and if they all start to gel together and actually start showing off their flair, start showing off their skill, we could be playing much better.
The problem we have, Phil, in midfield is the fact that if you're going to play Bentancur and Paulina together, and I think you could have them come on the pitch late. They make good squad players. They make good squad players to me, but if they just don't give us the legs in midfield. Paulina is very good at what he does. He wins all these tackles. Fans rather don't. I'd like to keep him as a squad player, but I think as we're going to need changes in the summer, who we're going to get rid of will depend on who comes in. I think Paulina will be surplus to requirements. The other thing I don't know about him, although he had the most tackles in a 23-24 season with Fulham, if my memory's right, great, but you've also got to look at the impact the player has in the game. I mean, like, okay, he's made loads of tackles for us. How many of those games have we won?
Yeah. I think that Palhinha offers us very, very little balance in midfield. Again, in terms of like he's not very mobile, so he can't get across the pitch like super fast. His positioning is good, so like he can, he crunches into tackles and stuff, right? But again, for me, like if we're going to go away to Man City, and probably we are going to be defensive, right? I mean, we're not going to take the game to a Man City at the, up there. Then that's the kind of game where Palhinha can start. But in the other games, regardless of who the other midfielders are, I don't think he offers enough to our way of playing, and I'm not really that bothered as to whether we keep him or not. In fact, I'd probably rather, not spend the 25 or 30 million or whatever it is. Bearing in mind he's also is he 29 or even 30?
31.
Yeah. So look, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, like if if the new owners actually are gonna, invest a bit of money, we don't know how much they're going to invest yet. We don't know if they're going to, obviously make a couple of really good signings or if they're actually going to like put more money, into the pot. We don't really know anything yet. But like for that 30 million for an old player who is slow, in my opinion, regardless of his tackling ability, I'd rather we invest that into, honestly, like an Adam Wharton or someone like that.
Oh yeah, we'd all like him.
But like obviously, it's right now. I can't believe that we would get a Wharton. I can't believe that we would get even an Elliot Anderson. To be honest, if only that there's other teams probably who would be interested, in those kind of players like Man United who desperately need centre midfielders. So I wouldn't keep Palhinha, and I'd rather that we invest that money elsewhere, but then maybe just again have an extra spot in the squad for someone like a Bergvall or a Gray, to continue being able to develop. But
I just think a midfield diamond would help. Help Paulinho or Bentancur if they were singly playing just in front of the back four. I mean, Chelsea have done it. Others have done it before in the past, had that player sitting. Leicester did it when they won the title. I mean, if we had someone that could sit there where his legs weren't so important, and like Paulinho is the slowest in the team, Bentancur is probably the next, right? So, but then you'd have three midfielders in front and with legs, and we've been losing these midfield battles, and we all know, we're all taught, if you don't win the midfield battle, it's very rare that you win the game unless you're lucky with long balls or something like that. So if you had Sarr, Bergvall and Gray in front of him, in front of Bentancur, I think that could give him a lease of life. I mean, I obviously don't know what the club are going to do. I would keep him if we were going that way, but then we get a winger in January and it changes everything. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So
I think if you look at like what we've got right now, and you play Bentancur at the base of the diamond right now, and then you have, Gray, Bergvall, whoever else, Sarr in front, then I think that can work a bit better just because it's more fluid. But I think it could also work with Palhinha at the moment. But then again, like Frank has to get Frank and the players have got to get their tactical setup, but also that cohesion right, where they know where they're gonna, where they are on the pitch, and if I'm being honest, I mean, like Ange had obviously we had the flaws with Ange's system, right? Especially, with the full backs as well, inverting, and then, there was like massive gaps at the back. But I also thought that the midfield didn't really work effectively enough in Ange's system. And that was even having a Madders or a Kulusevski in there as well, which is clearly an upgrade in what we've got at the moment. I don't think Ange ever got the midfield, absolutely working perfectly. And now I think at the moment, to give Frank a bit of, defence in some respects, right? To defend Frank a bit. I think if you look at those players we have in central midfield, I think he's trying still to get the tactical balance right, and also get the players to execute it right in the right way, and it's obviously not working.
Yeah,
and And that's the problem. For me, that's the biggest problem at the moment. And of course, if we're being honest as well, though, right, we do need another centre midfielder, right? Like a better quality. That's why we wanted Morgan Gibbs-White. That's why we wanted whoever else we were after. But like Morgan Gibbs-White, he probably wasn't going to be the number 10, like classically for us under Frank. From what Frank was saying in the summer when he was asked about him, he would have played deeper, but he would have done that kind of, you know, all-round role, but float forwards as well. And we're missing all of that at the moment. So
yeah.
I agree with you. I'm rambling on that, but I agree with you on the diamond that
fine.
I agree with you on the diamond around that, actually, that because it gives us more solidity in midfield.
Yeah, that's what we
you know,
need.
And it plugs the gaps. And maybe it also forces us to play a bit more actually through the centre.
Yeah.
Right, direct, right, through the centre, rather than trying to get it into Kudus or into you know, Muani on the left, and then doing a cross into the box,
and then getting
which always
crosses
gets
into one striker in the box. I mean,
which is Richarlison.
Bentancur and Paulino, they say, "Oh, they get forward to score goals." Yeah, they do for set plays and things like that. But they both haven't got the legs drifting left or right to fend off attacking opponents, to keep doing it at pace, right? They haven't got it. Whereas Gray and Bergvall would close them down if they were on the left or the right much quicker. And like going forward as well, I think actually it'd give us a new dimension going forward. It would, because then even if you've got Kudus or, you know, a fullback breaking down the right, now you've got runners into the box, because you've got three in midfield there. You've got runners into the box, and like to aid Muani, you know, and Kudus. I just think it'd be at this stage much more effective. And even if we do get a top class quality left winger in on loan or whatever, if it's Rodrigo, if it's not Semenyo, you know, if it's not Lookman, I mean, in midfield, if I wanted a ball carrier to bring in, although we're stacked with ball carrying not ball carrying midfielders, but midfielders, I'd get Akluushin for Monaco for what he did to us in that game.
He's excellent.
And I think he's excellent. He's 24 and he's experienced in that. He carries the ball forward. So if you needed that, and then like you introduce and you play him in the diamond, at the moment our midfielders, when we're under pressure, they just don't seem to know what to do. Just don't seem to be no outball. Welcome back, Charlie. He's obviously having internet grief there. Yeah, so I don't know if you've been listening to what's going on, Charlie, at the moment or whatever. But if you're in chat, give us your comments on what you think so far. Yeah. So I just think, and even if we get the winger in, he's still got to be blooded. There's no guarantee they're going to hit the ground running.
No.
Once, I mean, I was moaning about getting footholds in a game. Get a foothold in a game, even that crap game, that worst game against Nottingham Forest. I mean, we need new. Yeah, we need to stiffen the midfield, get a foot in the game, and then bring a striker in. But it should all been done much, much earlier. I mean, I don't have a lot of confidence in Frank. I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but I don't have a lot of confidence in his style of play. If he's going to play negative football, he's not lasting long at his club. You know? So, Charlie, what's your take on Thomas Frank? Do you like him?
I think he started off on the right foot with me, just by, well, basically the game against PSG was so promising. Yeah, the way we played the first half, all that type of stuff, and then it just went downhill from there. To be fair, except for like maybe the City away, we've had some good games. Like in general, it's just been really, really crap, and it's not been fun to watch. So I'm not loving him. Do I want him gone? No, I think he deserves a bit longer, because you're not going to. He needs a season. Give him a season. If he's still performing this way by this time next year, get him gone. But if everyone needs time. If we sack him now, we're gonna have the exact same cycle going on again. We're gonna have to wait another year, 1.5 years for something else gonna happen. So it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? We just need to keep him in for a bit longer.
It's just that it's draining for the fan base to keep going through this same process season after season, bringing in managers we should have brought in. I mean, our motto is, you know, "Audere e facere," right? In Latin, to dare is to do. You know, I mean, to us, it's like, it's just like we've not seen that. Spurs traditions and the decades I've been watching them is to play fast, attractive, attacking football, right? then even if you lost playing that way, and there will be games where you don't turn up each season. That happens to Man City and other teams as well. They play poorly, they have a squeaky result, or they get beat, and there's a big headline the next day. But I'll go back to Michael Jordan. I think he said, "I can stand losing, but I can't stand not trying." You know, and for everyone to be so poor in a game, something is definitely wrong there. You know, and yet Phil was alluding to earlier, Charlie, about players getting to know his tactics and all. But actually, Mickey van der Ven has come out and said we do a lot more. I'll come back to you, Phil. Then we do a lot more tactical stuff with Frank than we've done. They call him professor, and I believe that. But you know, I think I just think Frank.
Why don't?
Go on.
Yeah, why don't? I think that Frank's doing a lot more with them in terms of, you know, tactical run-throughs, you know, like what to do in certain situations, you know, to look at the other team. I think that he's probably, in some ways, maybe also tried to do... I mean, it's hard to say because, like, we still can't really see what Frank's identity is, really, right? Like, how he wants to play. Like, I don't think it's fair to say that he's just... You know, he's not parking the bus. You know, and he's not, but we've got such low, you know, stats in terms of, you know, through balls, you know, pretty much every attacking stat is so bad. So for me at the moment, it's all a bit weird because I think that he might be doing too much with the players, actually, in terms of the fact that the players are getting a bit, you know, nervous or a bit unsettled because, yeah, actually, they're not quite sure what to do. Or maybe they are, you know, again, like scared to kind of do, you know, the wrong thing. And again, there is that lack of creativity anyways in the team, right? So we don't have, apart from Xavi now, and, you know, if Moani gets on the ball and Kudus gets on the ball in space, we don't really have those through balls. So I think it's a bit of a catch-22. I think it's a bit of a weird situation at the moment where, you know, Frank is probably trying to do more with the players in 3 or 4 months, but it's not clicking at all. And the one thing that I am concerned about with Frank really is that when he came, you know, when we started off, there was a bit of there was a clearer kind of picture, right, in terms of what we're trying to do, right? All of those away games, including City, including, you know, Paris, PSG, you know, which we said we should have won that game. We still didn't lose to them, but we played really well. You know, and even those other away games where we were a bit lucky, you know, Leeds, Everton, which we won quite convincingly in the end. West Ham, not very good at that point, right? But we had a bit more of a, you know, playing away from home, which is more, you know, defensively solid. He hasn't been able to get, obviously at home, anything working. But that defensive thing going away from home has also disappeared a bit. And right now, apart from those 2 games that we had, you know, a couple of weeks ago, Brentford and the Champions League game, where there was more positivity, you know, we were actually playing on the front foot, we had energy, you know, it doesn't look good at the moment. And, you know, whenever we play a team that presses us, hard, that gets on the front foot straight away and runs, you know, towards our players, give our players hardly any time on the ball, we seem to crumble completely. We did it against Bournemouth at the beginning of the season. We did it against Forest. We could do it against Liverpool. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I've supported Frank the whole way through in terms of being able to get this squad effective because everyone says he's like good at building, you know, building something up. You know, he gets, how do you say, he gets more out of the players he has, you know, like, whereas someone like Ange probably was a bit different like that. You know, Frank supposedly can kind of get more out of the squad and adapt to different things. We haven't seen any of that. And he's going to be under time pressure. Like, you know, if the club are saying they're going to keep him or trust in him, that's all good. But he has to win games. If he doesn't win, you know, if he loses to Liverpool now, you know, if he loses to Palace, and then I think the game after that's quite tricky as well. And then we've got Dortmund kind of coming in, you know, in January, and then Frankfurt away. I mean, the club might literally probably has to make a decision because they have no choice, right? How far can you sink in a project? That's what my kind of I think on the one hand concern is, but I have absolutely no idea whether Frank can turn it around. I have absolutely no idea because I don't know if he's got a massive ceiling, a really high ceiling, to be honest, or if he or if he doesn't. So I'm really interested to see what happens over the next, couple of weeks over the busy festive period, and then see if they trust in him and give him the money.
Charlie, this is a list of fixtures to the end of January. I had to squeeze the last two in, but I'll give you it. So we got Liverpool Saturday the 20th, who just seem to be coming into form. Palace have been doing great this season. Then we get Brentford away. Well, we always win or draw at Brentford away. Sunderland, we don't know what they'll be doing when they come to us. They just beat Newcastle 1-0, haven't they? Then we got Bournemouth, who are not having a great season. Villa in the Cup at home. That could go either way. That'll be a gung-ho game. Should be a good game to go to for a neutral. Should be fantastic. Then we've got West Ham at home. We should beat them. Then, Dortmund, we'll be up for this because a point or a win gets us to the playoffs anyway. So we will be up for it. And then we get Burnley, and then away, and then that's Eintracht Frankfurt because I couldn't squeeze it in because on the 31st was the last of our Champions League games. So unfortunately for us, the hardest games seem to be the next two coming up. But it's not all doom and gloom here because you've got Bournemouth in here, you've got West Ham in here, you've got Burnley in here as well. So
saying that though, Adrian, I think Liverpool is not going to be the hardest. Liverpool's crumbling before our eyes.
You can get at their defence, yeah.
I mean, Van Dijk's against the manager, Salah's against the manager. It's the team's not a team anymore. They're not gelling anymore. I feel like we could beat Liverpool just because the whole team's crumbling, but just literally before they're losing again. They're losing stupid games. They're not playing good. You know what I mean? I feel like Palace is going to be a hard one because Palace always is hard, especially away.
We're also crumbling though, Charlie.
We're crumbling, but our team, it's not as if Solanke hates Frank, or Solanke just can't seem to get along with Frank. Van Dijk and Mohamed Salah publicly stated that they do not, you know what I mean, that they're not happy with how Slot's communicating all that stuff. You know what I mean? So that's more what I mean.
I mean, they've had an issue. I mean, again, they're new player. I mean, I watched Florian Wirtz in Germany. He looked fantastic player, right? And then you've got Isaac, who's coming as well. I mean, and Liverpool are not like Newcastle. Newcastle, we played them. I know they thrashed us a few times, but these times we had more of the ball and it was on the counter-attack. So when Isaac's at Newcastle, he's going to receive the ball in more space because they're counter-attacking. So you're catching defenders on the hop until they can close you down. At Liverpool, they play on the front foot. Other teams are going to mark Isaac. They're going to know where he's about. So he's got to use whatever guile he's got. He's a good player. He will score goals, but he's got to find his rhythm in his setup. So yeah, I mean, they will also worry about. I mean, even Richarlison's showing good form. I don't want him at the football club. I'm not a fan, but I'll support every player and manager at this football club as well. I was brought up, right? But I mean, his actual stats, 6 goals and assists, and what he's got in his games are good, even though he was poor as anybody else at the weekend. And, Kudus is a problem for anyone. I mean, we've got players that can hurt. We're good at set pieces. We could win the game. We could win a scrappy 1-0, I mean, so you've always got a chance in football. Always got a chance. I mean, so...
That will only...
In 2024, Joel Matip, last-minute own goal.
Yeah,
there's always something that can happen. It's the beautiful game.
And as Andy, like you said, if you pressure a team enough and they concede an old goal, don't just think it's unlucky for them because you've kept them under pressure and we were pressurising them during that game. Yeah, go on, Phil. You were going to say something.
I was going to say, if we can do all of that, but only if we, turn up and deliver. An energetic performance, right? Which, was obviously completely lacking against Forest. It was completely lacking against Chelsea. It's completely lacking against Arsenal. The Arsenal game when they beat us 4-1, sadly, that was their easiest game of the season, practically. They've been they haven't been in form the last 3 months. You know, they've been struggling against most teams, but against us, it was easy. We didn't offer any what's the word? It was easy for them. And you know, like against Liverpool, against Palace, against Bournemouth, against Villa, against Brentford away. I mean, that should be easy, Brentford away. But even in those other games, like, we do have a chance, but only if we increase our overall performance level by at least 100%, right? Compared to Forest, Arsenal and Chelsea, really. Because, like, we couldn't pass the ball. We were second best to every 50-50. So, you know, on the one hand, Frank needs to get the players set up properly, and he needs to maybe adapt the tactics again. Then, you know, as we're saying, maybe to a diamond, get that diamond working. But if the players don't themselves, you know, turn up and deliver enough, you know, then we're going to have big problems in all of them. You know, even in those lesser games, I think, to be honest. You know, and I'm hoping that we do. I'm hoping that, you know, we do it. I'm hoping that we turn up, but you know, I'm just worried that, again, you know, we do all of the preparation in the week. You know, we get the players all cool and set up, and then somehow it's just like a non-performance again. You know, so I don't know, but again, I don't know what the reasons for that are or for that was. You know, so we can only hope that it gets better. You know, the more time that Frank gets with the players, you know, we've obviously got a whole week now, and there's no European football the next time. So maybe Frank, you know, has a bit more time, right, with the players. I don't know.
And on that point, because I did do a banner on this, Charlie, is Frank struggling with a game every 3 days? He might have had it at Brentford when they're in the cup competitions, but they never usually stay in them long. So do you think he's struggling with a game every 3 days?
He can't keep up with a game a week. How can he keep up with a game every 3 days? We're going to crump up. If he doesn't get his, I'm not going to swear. If he doesn't get his stuff together, we are going to lose 90% of the games, because we're not winning if we play one. You know what I mean? We're not even winning when we play once a week. We're playing twice as much now.
Yeah.
It's not looking promising. That's why I really want him to just get his stuff together, get everything in a nice straight line. See what can we improve. How can we beat this team? You know what I mean? Just, I feel like we're not ready to be playing 2 times a week.
And we've had an issue, Charlie, to stay with you just a second, with the fact that, to me, everything is governed by what happens in midfield in a football team. You have to get them. You have to have a dynamic field. It has to have pace and bite if you're going to have a standard chance in game. Yes, you're a lucky long ball football team. You have to do that. And we've had a lot of. I've seen it on a lot of podcasts, and it's fair enough. Fair comments from Spurs fans about, like, oh, all our forwards are rubbish. What did he do in a game? What did he do in a game? But to caveat that, if you give them service and they miss sitters, I get that, right? But if you don't give them the service, I mean, we had one shot in that last game, and that was from Gray, you know, who probably had it. Who I'd blame for the first goal, actually. I would, actually, but that's because he wanted the ball, basically. But we're not giving our forwards the service. So this is why this is why my idea as a diamond would mean there's an extra midfield man in there, and you're going to have a lot of energy in that midfield. I could see Frank, you know, beefing the midfield up with energetic players against Liverpool, because I think, you know, he struggled. He's had 25 games. I mean, admittedly, don't get me wrong, he's lost 3 of our forward line. 4 if you include Sonny. He's lost Maddison, Decky, and Solanke. I don't know if Solanke's got an issue with Frank or not. I don't know nothing. I haven't heard nothing about that. So I don't know where you get that story from, but it might be one circulating. But the media, they like spreading crap about our club anyway. So, you know. So, right, all right.
To be fair, Paulinho and Bentancur is anti-football. Paulinho himself is amazing. Sign him. I mean, don't care. Just sign him. We need him. He's bloody class. We need him, and I think him and Gray would be a very like nice and solid midfield. Him and Gray. He's got yeah.
But the reason with Bentancur and Paulinho, Bentancur did it before his ACL. He used to drive us up the pitch. That's
he did,
stopped.
yeah.
He's dropped off. Whether it's his new contract, so he's not going nowhere. He's got a new contract. This is why I think Polina's more under threat of going if we bring another midfielder in, because Basuma will go. But I mean, and then this is why I think he's more under threat. But I think you need a system for some players, and I think free a diamond midfield would make Simmons, who's looked better and better every time I've seen him, probably our best player against Forest, if you could say we had a best player, and trying to get the ball forward. But then I think, if you've got a narrow pair of strikers up there, if it's Kudos and Slanky, I think that helps. That would help Simmons, I mean,
I think.
Go on.
So I was just going to don't want to interrupt, but I think we need to play Sarr more again
for sure.
Because he's probably the only midfielder we have who is obviously physically, quite strong, like big, like really, like kind of strong and athletic. He's fast. He covers the pitch. He's more of a box to box kind of player, right? Like technically, he's not like a super creative player, right? He's not gonna play all these through balls, but he should be a kind of central midfielder who, with a bit of tweaking, maybe he at least gets in the opposition's face, right, and wins 50-50s, right? And I think that with your diamond, Adrian, I think that he would be really good in that. If they can get the balance right in that. But he needs to play more. He hasn't really played that much recently under Frank. I think there was he may have had some personal issues from what I heard somewhere, with a mate passing away or something like this, and then, he had a niggly injury, which didn't really keep him out for any time, but it made it difficult for him to kind of be 100% fit. So maybe he needs to be given more chances. And I mean, Bergvall, to be fair, he probably needs more game time as well, consistently. I mean, he was good last season, right, Bergvall? When he came in from nowhere, and he's got the ability to get the ball, to run, to accelerate away from players. He's tricky, like Frank needs to sort that out, like now. That's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem for us.
We need to be given confidence, because I mean, you could look at this cynically. David Harris brought it up on his show on the Irish Hotspur. Great show, by the way. Anybody out there, get over there and watch them. They do great content. There was suspicion, we don't know, did Frank shut up shop with his substitutions? I mean, we're losing 2-0. Is he frightened of losing 3 or 4? Because then you bring on Davies and Paulinho. And look, Davies is not going to be a future part of this club. He's going in. I love the player. He's been with us 11 years. I think he's got more game time than even Kane or Son. Been here longer than them too anyway. But why? I mean, most teams in the past, you play an Arsenal, Man City, or things like they throw on 2 or 3 attackers. It's like they've got a front 5 or something, and you're going for the game. And if you lose 3 or 4, that's different. I mean, if Frank's going to turn out to be this conservative manager, I don't want him, but I'm not going to throw him under the bus, right?
I have a theory about that, about why he brought on at least Davies, but I don't know if I'm right. But I think that he thought by bringing Davies on, it wasn't to shut up shop, but I think it was more in his head, maybe, or in his idea, Davies would just literally give a bit more balance on the left, being a left footer, and would impact the game more in terms of us as a team, just playing a bit better, right, as a team, like balance-wise. I don't think he brought him on to be defensive. I think it was the wrong decision, because at the end of the day, it doesn't look good. And as you said, like normally you would bring on wingers or strikers or, a Xavi to, if he hadn't been playing, to come on and try and make something happen. But I think that it wasn't because Frank wanted to kind of stop the defeat being, too bad and be conservative. I think he was generally just trying to get a bit more balance in there. And that was his idea. After the game, he said something about, you can't always bring on an attacker and just kind of expect that it makes the team play better or create more chances, which I kind of agree with as well, right? Because at the end of the day, and I was just going to say that if you've got a functioning team, or a squad like Arsenal, like Man City, even like Palace or someone, right? who are not like one of the top 3 clubs in the country, but they have, a settled way of playing. They know that if they bring players in, then they play in a certain way. If they bring in attacking players into those roles that replace other ones, maybe, or they take off a centre midfielder and put on a striker, or even take a defender off and put on a striker, I think they can. It has more impact because they are a successful team already. But the fact is that in that game on Sunday, we were not an effective team whatsoever. We are not an effective team generally, but we were playing so badly that I think he thought that if he brings on like Odebert or someone, it's not gonna have a magical kind of change in things. But I'm not saying it. I said I think it was the wrong decision to do what he did because it doesn't look good for the fans either, right?
It's the wrong decision if you don't bring on an attacker because at least Spence will get forward. Davis is not going to get forward, but that's as you say, it might not be what he wanted. But then if you bring Davis on, I get that. If you brought another couple of attackers on and you made the substitutions earlier because they should have been made earlier in that game, and that's not just being a clever hindsight critic. It was obvious that something had to be fixed.
And he should have taken. I mean, he should have put Moani in the centre anyway, right, and taken Richarlison off, and then brought on either Tell or Odebert really, right on the left. I think that was, the kind of the clear move to make, right. Like how Richarlison was on the pitch for, it was almost the full game, wasn't it? Was it 86 minutes or something? I can't remember, but it's just weird.
Charlie, glad you're back.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi is doing really weird.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. We can live with. We can get by. It's such a poor performance when that happens. Even the players have been given, even with whether we agree. I thought the lineup was okay when I looked at it. I'm sure everyone did, right? But to put in for the whole team to put in a performance like that, right? Players have got to take some responsibility for this. I mean, what's going on in their head? What's in their mentality? Where's someone trying to grab the game by the scruff of the neck?
You're right. We really need the player that can speak for the team, can take responsibility, can rile players up. I feel like it used to be Romero, but I feel like Romero's lost it a bit. You know what I mean?
Well, he did it the other day. He scored 2 goals, didn't he? So he did it, but he
doesn't feel like he's the same anymore. He used to be this player that everyone he'd rile up the team. He'd go for the tackles. He'd play risky. I know he scored 2 goals against Newcastle, but it wasn't. He played really well. But before that, it's not as if he's been playing amazing football. And he always used to be this player that would basically motivate the team. That's what I think. Then motivate the team. Basically make them play better, make them play more fierce.
But don't you think we're worse without him? Because when he's been absent, even that 1 game suspension before he comes back and scores 2 goals, we haven't got a centre back. We've got a driving centre back in VDV or Charge, but we haven't got. I mean, Dancer, I like Dancer. He's a good squad player. He needs 2 touches on the ball a lot of time when he's at his feet. He needs to get it right first time. But he's been ever so solid. Been an excellent buyer, good squad player. But we haven't got a progressive bowler at the back unless you bring in someone like Vuskovic at the end of the season.
Yeah, I saw your message, Phil. You wrote.
I'm just putting it out there, right? That Romero took over the captaincy, right, this season, and obviously when he wasn't captain, I can't remember if he was vice captain last year, but he was certainly in the leadership group, so he was kind of one of the leaders officially. He'd always been a bit of a loud player. He gets stuck in. He pops up with goals, kind of thing. I'm just playing devil's advocate and just asking the question whether we all love Romero, right? We all love him, but is he being the best captain that he can be for us? Is he even the right person for us at the moment to be like the squad captain? I don't know. It's just something bearing in mind, like whether maybe, if you look at some of the performances, if you look at the games, like you look at how he is in the game, you look at his body language, it hasn't always been great this season either. Is he influencing in the right way?
Well, you've got other players in there, Phil, haven't you? I mean, like VDV's had the captain's armband, Porro's had the captain's armband, although because he played 1 million games last season, I think his game tally's caught up with him. You know, so and his form's been pretty poor this season. So I think there are other players in there. I mean,
not many. To be fair, not many though. Not
no. Bergvall likes to drive forward as well. I mean, like he tries to get the team up the pitch, but you know, we're just a comedy of errors. The point is, we're giving away such sloppy goals in the last few games. We didn't do that for a long time. So you know,
yeah. If you get a coming back to the midfield again, though, right? You know, like if we manage to sign like a Wharton or an Anderson or someone else, you know, on who's probably 60, 70, 80 million, he's like an all-round centre midfielder, right? Can do a bit of everything, you know, and they've got that presence. Theoretically, they could almost become the captain straight away, you know, and I reckon that team is almost 50% transformed just because you've got someone like that in there. But of course we don't now. And, you know, as we said, you know, Frank needs to get this diamond then. Like he needs to get that midfield sorted out. However he does it, that is his number one, you know, to do on his list. He needs to work out how to plug it, how to get more creative, how to get, you know, to win more 50-50s. You know, it's not an easy, I don't think it's an easy task for him at the moment. That's the problem.
If Decky and Solanke come back, they will make a big difference to us.
Oh, yeah.
It's just on holding the ball. So you're not going to give the ball away so much. You're going to keep it. It's not going to bounce off Richarlison. It won't bounce off Solanke like it does off a Richarlison. And they will make a big difference to this team and a big difference away from home as well when you need to hold the ball up. We've seen Decky get us through a game, the away game at Luton when Basuma got himself sent off of simulation. And then VDV scores a goal. Yeah. Decky virtually held up. We know he's the workhorse in this team. He's my favourite player, actually, in the Spurs team. And I know half the fan base aren't so keen on him, right? There's something he's slow. He's not slow.
If we had a Basuma at the moment, right, who didn't have his issues, and he was actually like living up to his hype and his form, right, as to why we bought him, then he would also add quite a lot to this team and to this midfield, I think, in terms of being dynamic. But obviously he's not, so it's a moot point. But that's the kind of player, you know, you can get on the ball, turn, you know, kind of do a bit of everything. And we just don't have that perfect model, do we, really there? So Frank's got to do the best out of it. But, you know, look, if we went and got Xavi Hernandez in, let's just say he was available now, like, and he was interested. Let's just say that we actually do, you know, fire him and get someone like Xavi. Would he be able to kind of transform that midfield and the way that, do you know what I mean? That's what I'm also not sure about, right? Which is why when it comes to saying Frank in or out, you know, do we give him, let's say, till the end of the season, right, at least, and then, you know, we make a decision as and when. So
brings me on to this point, fans losing patience. It doesn't, and I get why our fans might lose more patience. We pay top money and we've been waiting for too much. It seems a long time ago since we had that warm glow inside for winning the Europa League. And like that warm glow should have carried us through this season, not have us now feeling like that we're in no man's land. We're treading water. We're looking like a mid-table team. And we don't seem to be. What we want to see is growth and progress. And we've seen a little bit of growth and progress in some of the players. VDV showed us a different level to his game. You know, we've seen Bergvall show us a different level to his game as well. You know, there's
my Wi-Fi is just not really everything's just not really working with my iPad. I'm gonna try to rejoin on my laptop, and if that doesn't work out, I'll have to go. I have to quit at 11 anyways because I'm gonna go to work tomorrow.
Right, okay, all right. So
I'll say my goodbyes here. Phil,
all right, we'll get you back, Charlie.
Nice to meet you. Cheers, Charlie.
Thanks for having me on, and then I'll see you soon, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so fans are quickly losing patience. You know, he hasn't. I don't believe Frank's lost the dressing room. I don't believe, you know, that. You know, they're not. When the fans start singing, you don't know what you're doing at the stadium. Then you know, manager's got a problem, right? But I look at it from the ENIC point of view as well. I mean, you got a new board have got him in, right? This is their first manager they've brought in, not Levy. Are they going to want to embarrass themselves by getting a man in? I don't think they are. I mean, they've also got to act in this transfer window and release that money to get players in. And Frank wants them in early. And they've got to do that just to show that they meant what they said and putting that money into the club. And there should be enough money in there. And I know it's a difficult transfer window, only 31 days before you submit your new Champions League squad as well. Because if you bring foreign players in, that's going to complicate things for Frank because he's left foreign players out, and you've got Decky coming back as well, who's going back into that squad. So it might mean I see Odebert being left out of the next one, whatever happens. Like whether Dragason's not included or not, who knows? He's got to prove his fitness, so he shouldn't go in the squad. Neither should Takai, So they should, So we'll see. So I mean, do you think?
Problem.
I mean, I even if we have a crap Christmas and come through to January and results still aren't there, I know fans would scream, but you're not going to bring anyone in unless you promote a coach. And I don't see us going through the rinse and repeat and give another manager a chance and get his players in. The point is with this football club, where they've screwed up so badly in the past, is our motto is to dare is to do. We brought in managers. Conte is world class. When Mourinho is world class, they're not too dare is to do managers. They never have been. They play percentages. They play the odds that work because defensively and football-wise, I mean, when you're playing 4-2-3-1, it's actually in coaching, it's a 7-4 attack. Frank alluded to that actually in his press conference after the loss to Forest. We already got 4 attackers on. But under Conte and Mourinho, it was an 8-3. It was an 8-3, so relying on 3. But at least they had Kane and Son up front to get them goals. And it worked in part, but when it didn't work and you're at the stadium as a season ticket holder like I am, it was a most painful watch, a most painful watch. But then Mourinho would always like trumpet his achievement if we won a game anyway. Oh, look, this worked, right? And I just knew that it worked for the future, those two. And Conte cut and run, shows how much character he's got. He cut and run. So, yeah. So I just don't see. I mean, it could be totally wrong to the 50 of you watching us on various platforms, but I just don't see it, and I don't think we should. We should ride this out because we know we've had issues with the squad. We have failed better in the transfer market in recent windows. We brought Kudus in, we brought Polina in, we brought in. Others in. I mean, even when we brought Bergvall in, still, and like we've done some good business, but some of that good business has been on prospects like Tell and Odebert when we needed to. Odebert was at the PSG Academy. He went to Burnley. Vincent Kompany raved about him. I've no doubt there was a terrific player in there, but he's not fully developed yet. So, and Tell the same. But you can see they've got something about them, these players. But we need it now. We need to fix that position on the left. We need to bring a midfielder in like a Kalush. And we need to we spoke about this the other day, a left back in like Nathaniel Brown from Eintracht Frankfurt. And if we get 3 of those in with Decky coming back, I think we see a change in our fortunes.
Massively, I agree. I mean, just having no Solanke as an example in the team, impacts Frank and the way that he wants to play massively because Solanke's got such a presence up front, right? And he holds the ball up, he lays it off. Richarlison just isn't on the level. Kulu coming back. If we do finally get another left winger in or left forward, who's of a genuine class, let's say as good as Kudus on the right, or somewhere like that. And if we get Nathaniel Brown in or someone like that, and Nathaniel Brown is doable, we should be all over that, right? Because Frankfurt will sell him in January as well if they get a good enough offer. He'd be up for the Premier League as well. Then, yeah, I agree. I think we'll see an automatic, raise in performance level. I think you'd see an automatic raise in XG, Again, yeah, as you said, if we get the lad from Monaco in or someone else who can play, maybe as a number 8 or behind Xavi, or they can dovetail together, then that changes loads as well, like in terms of dynamic. So Frank does need the time, you know. He hasn't been he hasn't been given long enough. He hasn't been given a fair crack of the whip, right? In terms of being able to like really get with the players. You know, we've been playing Champions League from the get-go. You know, even with Ange, right, in his first season, when he came in, we weren't playing, you know, twice a week, right? You know, we were literally, we had one game a week, you know, so it meant that he could at least get his tactics kind of up and ready straight away. And coming from, you know, Stellini and Conte before, it was probably much easier just to kind of, you know, go to an all-out attack style in some respects, especially with Madders being fit, with Kulusevski being fit, with Solanke being fit, and having Sonny there, who we haven't replaced Sonny this season.
Yeah.
And Sonny gave us more.
We lost the front four. We've lost the whole front four.
We got to be. I think we've got to be respectful towards Frank on this because, you know, like I remember a couple of months back, like probably in September, October, when there was the first few grumblings coming out, right, around, you know, a lack of XG, right, in some games, and the fact that we're not playing any balls through, you know, we're not hitting teams on the break and scoring great goals on the break generally. And there was a stat somewhere that said that we're missing, I think it was 89 or 90 goals and assists together, right, from last season. We're missing them because it's basically Son, Kulusevski, Madders, and Solanke. We don't have any of that. And then you get in a manager like Frank who has to kind of come in with a new player on the right, Kudus, who admittedly is great, but he's a new player. He's got to get used to like being, you know, being in the Tottenham squad. You know, again, even moving within the Premier League isn't always easy. We don't have a left winger. And he's being forced to utilise Richarlison the whole time. And Moani wasn't fit for like 3 months anyway. And it's only now when Moani is pretty much match fit, really. So like, I think we've got to give Frank a bit of leeway and a bit of respect around the fact that he's had to try and rebuild this team that was also shipping how many goals last season? Do you know what I mean? So like, it's like, he's probably got the pressure of trying to sort the defence out. Vicario's also not exactly, you know, Mr. Reliable at the moment overall. And then you've got to sort the attack out. So it's a really, really difficult job. And how do we know that if we did swap Frank out, you know, if it's for an interim this season, or even if Xavi Hernandez actually said, you know what, I would join in January. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, is there a guarantee that they just turn this team around within 2 weeks or within a month and we start playing good football? You know, I'm really not sure that there is. So, you know, Frank could turn out because of he's highly rated, right, in Europe, Thomas Frank. You know, he had offers from the Bundesliga. I think Dortmund wanted him. There was even rumours with Bayern at some point, United, Chelsea. You know, he's obviously known in circles that he's a good manager and that he understands tactics well. And he is theoretically a good motivator. He's got his his right-hand man, is it Cochrane?
Yeah.
Justin Cochrane, who's incredibly highly rated. You know, like, I think maybe we'd be stupid, regardless of the moaning and grumbling and, you know, the lack of, you know, I think we might be a bit stupid to pull the trigger and just say, let's bin this all off, pay out all that compensation money for what? That's the question. What do we want instead? And I don't think that I'd like to listen to answers what anyone would want to replace that with. And maybe Pochettino coming back next summer, you know, even if then Frank gets fired in the summer, is that even the right way forward for Tottenham? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think there's a lot of, the club have to back Frank now. They have to be strong. The players need to back Frank. You know, they all need to like get them, how do you say, they need to grow up a bit as well, the players, I think, you know, that he hasn't lost the dressing room, right? But some of the players are not playing at 100%. They need to all put their, you know, big boy pants on and like, go out there as a team, like and go and do it, right? For the fans, for the team, and for Thomas Frank as well, to be honest. And then let's see. That's how I see it generally, right now.
Right, just want to give the channel a quick plug. It's been a fascinating show, and there's some very good conversations here. 50 odd of you watching us on various platforms. I know it's midweek, people have got work and that, and they've got to get up for the next day. But we pride ourselves at Spurs Dials of being a mature and sensible group, bring you fact-based content. So I love to bring you facts, right? So, but if you like our content, please hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. Me and Phil can't see it, but you can, and give the video a thumbs up, because it helps the algorithm, helps us grow. We're a fledgling group. We have been going about 18 months, but we're doing okay. But with your support, we could do much better. I want to thank everyone in the chat for their comments and questions as well. And a big up to everyone watches on playback. Now, transfer priorities. On the subject, there's a lot of fans out there watching now. I want to give you some facts, because they think, oh, manager buys the players, or it's Vinny Venkatesham, or it's Perisic and all this. This is our recruitment team. There's 11 of them without Vinny and without. You've got Rob McKenzie. He's the head coach. He heads a 10-man team. Max Legger, we got him off of Bayern Munich. He's our coach that's based in Germany. João Ferreira, he's our coach based in Portugal. Alex Fraser is a UK-based coach here. Giuseppe is in Italy. And Seb, I don't know how to spell his name, is in the UK. And then the last 5 here, Bucknell, Bennett, I couldn't spread them out because it won't allow me to have any more letters. Thornton, Cousins and Brian, they're all home-based. They're analysts. That's an analysis team below our coaches that go out and watch players, right? So there's been so many structural changes at this football club for a better, especially at academy level. When Perisic was here before, they ripped it all up when Nick, when he left anyway. When we broke the pay structure, that's why our academy is doing much better than it did in years before. I forget the previous coach's name, and the guy in charge's name, before Wayne Burnett and that lot took over anyway. Right, so that is the recruitment team. Now, on to transfer priorities. We all know that left wing is the biggest priority, Phil. I mean, but I think there's no excuse for us not doing good business. All depending on how you like these players I mentioned just ones off the head that you could get them. And I'll tell you why. Semenyo, we don't know. You've got, yes, he'll want to come. No, he don't want to come. Yes, he's an Arsenal fan. No, he's going to the Northwest because City and Liverpool and from, well, they've all spent so much money. And, the players that City have brought in, and like even Silvino can't get a game at City. He's had 4. So rumours is he might be sold in January. So he might be an option that we might go back to if we haven't been pissed off by Man City. So you've got Semenyo and Silvino, who wants games because of the World Cup in 26 for Brazil. But then you also got the other Brazilian at Real Madrid, Rodrigo. Now, I think he's gettable on loan, even if he didn't want to come to the club. He's not in favour with Alonso. So you could get him. I believe you could get Lookman. There's lots of background noise about him, attitude, things like that. If that's not true or whatever, or if it's just a question he don't get on with the coach, he is gettable. And I think Akliouche is gettable as well at Monaco. He can play on the wing in midfield, attacking midfield as well. So, and I mean, apart from Lookman, I'm not too sure about Savino now, but Semenyo or Rodrigo I would take, definitely. And I would take Akliouche. I'd take 3 of those. I don't know if you, in a chat, if you would take any of them, let us know. I mean, that's just on left. So I think a left winger is gettable. Although Akliouche is a left winger, isn't really a left winger, but
I'll take any of those. I mean, probably Semenyo would be my favourite if we could get him, because he'd probably just come in straight away, and he's direct, scores goals, he's tricky. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if, I'm sure we've been in for him, bearing in mind he's got a release clause. I'm pretty sure we've done all the discussions and tried and everything else. But I'd be very surprised if that happens, because I do think
he doesn't want to come, you move on. Just move on. Don't waste your time. Right?
Let's not waste our time. Exactly. He's going to go Northwest, I reckon. I think he'll go Liverpool or Man City. He'll go somewhere like that. I don't think he'll go Arsenal.
Or Arsenal. Any teams that are doing better than us. But I mean, He may well do it. He may well not. Because don't forget, Kudus is Ghanaian as well. They're both from Ghana. They're both on the same national side.
That is true. That is true. I mean, you never know. Right? We can probably give him we can pretty much give him a starting guarantee. And I know we wouldn't.
And
Like,
Champions League football.
Yeah, not formally, but we give him if we signed him at the beginning of January, like when it opens, like he's got a release clause, right? So it's easy. Theoretically, right? Theoretically, he can basically sign on the 3rd of January after he's done medicals and stuff, probably. He's got Champions League game 2 weeks later against Dortmund. He's got another one away in Frankfurt, right, with the opportunity to get into, quarterfinals or next phase, and he would start most games, which he might not elsewhere, and he probably wouldn't at Man City anyways. Like, they've still got Doku. You know what I mean? Like, and I'll take Doku as well, by the way, but that's probably not going to happen. Savinho, I would take. As you said, Akiosh.
They've
100%.
got Turkey, Oscar, Bob, and Doku City, though.
Yeah. There was a rumor. I saw that Man City might look to get rid of Bob and their other wide player, who I can't think who it is right now. But I don't know if Bob even plays on the left, really. No, not Cherky. No, because he's starting. He's coming into.
Not
he's
the under
coming into
21
form
kid.
now.
Is he there still?
Yeah, maybe it might be the under 21. But then arguably, even getting an Oscar Bob, he's probably not established enough. Even if he plays on the left, I would say we need someone who's a bit further than that. So the Monaco lad, yeah. I would take the 2 lads at Leipzig, Nusa, who we could have signed a couple of years ago, right? When he had the medical issue. And when Brentford basically went in for him as well, and then he didn't end up moving at all. Went to Leipzig instead. He's really good on the left. Very high ceiling.
If Man City weren't in for Semenyo and they went in for Rodrigo, I can then see him getting rid of Sylvina because he'll have to move him on. But it's the question of, are Man City really interested in Semenyo? I mean, with what they've got, I mean,
Semenyo probably.
Yeah. The other thing is, I know they're state-owned basically, but with the new FFP, right, and they haven't even been dealt with for their 115 plus charges. Neither is Chelsea with their 74 plus. But with the new FFP rules, the reason I think we should go now and activate Semenyo's release clause, unless he said he doesn't want to come, right, just to see. And offer a pay that 65 mil. And if there's 5 mil Adams, just say, right, we're willing to give you the 70 mil bang, like that. Because I'm not sure Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City have got the money now to go in January. We need to test it to see if they have got the money to go in January. Because we've got the advantage now. We can strike what they answer. And if we lose some, that's fine. But we can also beat our other clubs to other targets they want. But they might want to go in summer when they've got the new year and a new set of accounts, because they'll have submitted their accounts in April to June. I think you have to do it by. So some of them might not. Arsenal spent about a lot of money. Liverpool spent $500 million or whatever it is. Yeah. I don't think that they're going to go and splash money. Even Man United, they bought in Buemo, they bought in Cunha, others I think they brought in. So I'm not sure they can go big in January. We know Liverpool didn't spend for a couple of seasons. They had a lot of latitude with financial fair play, but Man City have spent every season virtually, right? So, and like I think Enoch needs to move now. I think we could get that left back from Frankfurt. I could reckon we could get one of them top wingers we mentioned. I'm not so sure about Lookman. He's the main doubt, right? The other 4, and we don't know if we're looking at others as well. Like the Turkish guy at
Yildiz.
Yeah,
he's class. He'll be good as well.
I'll go back for Leao. I'll go back for Leao as well. And so I don't know if we're in for any of those others. I bet we've got long lists. And this recruitment team, I mean, they've got to be compiling like data on players. Apart from the data they get off of you've got these groups, these transfer groups out there, companies that come up with data and charge you a fee and all that. You've got all them out there that you deal with as well, because at least they don't mouth off about moving players on like Flora Monero would do for a Dragon from Dragoson, who was trying to sell him to Real Madrid as soon as he got through our door, and he hasn't done nothing to prove he's worth going to a top club yet. And I just think we should move. We should go for it in January, not wait till the summer. We should get 3. And if you've got, we had 70 mil, obviously we're going to go for Savinho, or we're going to put a lump of 70 mil down for him, right? We had money left over. Then we got the 100 mil on top. Well, if you got 100 mil, you can put 25 mil down on 4 players. You don't pay it all up at once. I mean, that's a myth, right? It's always paid over the length of the contract. Within 3 to 5 years, which is normal, the length of a contract is usually paid up with.
If we want Semenyo or Savinho, then we need to, like, on the 1st of January latest. But obviously, we'll be in touch with the clubs already, you know, like at least just to sound out. But like, we need to put the money down. So even with Semenyo, right, it will kind of trigger a release clause. And then, as you said, like, then we'll see what the other teams have got in terms of cash, right, up to a certain extent. With Savinho, we were speaking with Man City so long in the summer that you would think if they're up for selling him or open to it, that it wouldn't be that difficult to do a deal, right? Because they've probably got like some kind of, you know, deal structure already from the summer, if that makes any sense, you know, and the player was happy to join us, wasn't he? Everything that we heard. And then anyone else. I mean, Thomas Frank said last week, I think in an interview, that he wants quick signings at the beginning of January.
Yeah, he did.
Now, I know every manager's probably going to say that, but you'd like to think that, you know, maybe now that Daniel Levy is no longer there, and it's mainly more like Paratici, Lange, and Vinay, that, you know what I mean? That there might be more urgency in terms of getting deals done, rather than also trying to get like literally the perfect deal for Levy, which he obviously always loved. You know, drag the deal out to like make himself feel better. You know, so
yeah.
Like,
My argument is,
move
though,
quick.
like, you can't. You've been hiding in the shadows behind Levy. You didn't do nothing while during Levy's tenure. So you don't get out of jail now because
that's true.
Sacked him, right? It's a bit like you've sacked the front man, right? You've got rid of the front man, who everyone wanted gone, right? Because the way he does transfer business mainly, right? You've got rid of the front man, and now you're front and center now. Now it's your responsibility. You've put some money up. Let's see if you can not only talk the talk, but walk the walk in January. And that's what we're expecting, that in January, for them to. And ideally, we would bring 3 players in January. We'd get the left back. I mean, it could be, like someone mentioned, Dennis Serkin. Well, I haven't watched him play since he was with the kids at Spurs, but you know, he was decent, but nothing outstanding. But Nathaniel Brown looks quality to me. So and I'll pump the video of him about for everyone to see, because I always do that. Because when people say, "Oh, he's crap," you know that most of the fan base haven't even watched the players, but they'll say they're crap, right? So, or some of the fan base. So, you know, so yeah.
If we've got the money to spend, then we need to go out and like get someone like Nathaniel Brown, you know, confirmed, because he's going to be a lot better in the future. He's got a very high ceiling. He fits probably straight into the way that we want to play. But we need to get those 3 players in, and if we get 3 players with enough quality, you know, and you know, they're not just like 10, 20, 25 million signings, but like they've got genuine quality and they've got experience in Europe and stuff, then there's an argument that if we get them in quick in January, we can start to integrate them quickly. And there is an argument then where we can still say that with improvements to the way that we play, with better results, we can still get, you know, we can qualify for European football next season, right? Whether that's the Champions League top 5 or Europa League, we don't know. But there is an argument that if we make those signings and if Frank continues to, you know, tweak things, get used to the players, and we do get an uptick in form, it could work out really well, actually, right? But again, we don't know that. That's the life of being a Spurs fan, isn't it? Like, we always kind of have these high hopes.
We could go and get Sade and Dye. Well, look, I've got an issue with one of these. Sade's got good stats, but his first real season, Frank wanted him. Not for me. And Dye So he's having a good season for Everton, and suddenly he's a 50 million, 60 million pound player. Really? Now, when you can go and get even Lookman as a worst buyer, or any of the players we mentioned, Semenyo, Rodrigo on loan, even worst, a Cleuch, Chris, look, they could be an answer. I'm not convinced by these, and I don't think either would satisfy the Spurs fan base. I mean, they want a Rodrigo, they want a Semenyo. Some of them might know not too low about Akluush. I mean, Savina would improve us, but he's down the pecking order at Man City for a reason. But that's because either he doesn't suit the system or whatever. But he is very, very skillful, though. He's very skillful. The more I think about it, the more we need Conor Gallagher. See, he's not inspiring, though, is he? He doesn't inspire you, Conor Gallagher. We've seen what Morgan Gibbs-White could do, but he's not inspired. Yeah.
I mean, the problem, if you sign someone like Conor Gallagher, then you probably got to sign him based on the fact that you're going to make him one of the pillars of the midfield for the next couple of years. And is he the right player to do that? I don't know.
He may well be. When I watched him, when he played really well, when we lost 3-0 at Palace that time and he ran the show.
Yeah.
A lot of times when he broke through on goal, I don't know what his goal scoring rate was, but I thought it was pretty poor. Sometimes I thought you should have got them on target, them shots, you know what I mean, with him and things like that. But he's box to box. He doesn't inspire me.
He would bring us more control, probably, and more energy in midfield, right? And he can get across the pitch. But I don't know what we'll be talking about money. What money for him? If he was available for a half decent fee, then it'd be someone you could probably consider to come in who also has the right attitude. He just brings that energy and kind of mentality, and he's a bit of a captain kind of player. But we just need to. We need to make these, and then as someone said there, Sharda and Ndai, they'd be the kind of players I could see us buying them for big money, and they'd end up being flops, or at least, do you know what I mean? Like they're like Sharda. Theoretically, Sharda's got a lot of good attributes, but he's also like a bit, I would say, one-dimensional, like a bit like Richie, like how he plays, and I don't really see for the money that's being asked for Sharda, like what he would bring to us. And then Ndai, he's had one good season. Like, he'll come to us, pay 55 million, 60 million, and they'll just, we've seen it too often,
Yeah.
So I think we need something different from those players. But
who
knows? Who knows who we're in for? It's only a couple of weeks away, isn't it? Literally.
I'd love
2 weeks away
to know that Moani would like to sign for us permanently, because to me, he's our best forward. And when you look at Sade, there's no comparison with like ball control and deft touch and all that between him and Moani. And Moani from PSG, we could get him for less money than we're getting Sade for. So I'm going for Moani every day. That's why it's on Sundays, And then if we're going to keep him and Solanke, if there aren't any rumours about a rift with him and Frank, then Richarlison's got to be shipped out as well. So we know that at the end of the season, we know that Basuma and Davies will definitely be gone to make some space. And then, Richarlison would have to smash it for the rest of the season for me, because he's been here long enough to prove himself. And he's just not for me. He's just not for me. But I won't throw any player. I'll always support the players and the manager at the club. Right, Phil, it's been great to get you on. We'll get you back again. Have you got any final comments to make, or where can we find you?
Yeah, no, just to say thanks, Adrian. It's been a pleasure to be invited on for the first time here on Diehards. I've been following your channel and the growth of it over the last, probably 6, 7, 8 months, I'd say, or maybe like whole of this year. And congratulations on the journey so far. You and Ian obviously building this up. Some great discussions every week, and it's a pleasure to be on. So thanks for having me. And I'm just on X, really, at Frankfurt Spurs.
Well, if you're normally the midweek shows. Friday we've got the crew. Ian does his thing on a Sunday. It's up to him what he wants to do. But if we'd like to get you on regularly on the Tuesday or Wednesday show. If you're available, I'll be in contact.
Yeah, definitely. I'm always up for that.
And
so
Gary on. We get Gary on and Kieran as well. Kieran couldn't come on today. Gary's busy. Probably the football day. We lost 5-2.
Yeah.
So I was watching that on Spurs play, and Right, with that, there's still 50 of you viewing us on various platforms. If you like the content, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel because it helps the algorithm. We do this for nothing. It only takes you a second to do it, just to subscribe and that, and we'd be grateful for your support, With that, I'm going to play you out with a bit of soul music that I wrote, and we'll see you Friday at 10 o'clock for our American audience.
We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die.